Lily, the towel. Assertive. Anybody else? No? No, it is assertive actually. It is assertive. Yeah. Lily, the towel. I'm tired and I need a rest. Please go out. Anybody would like to try? Aggressive? Anybody? Manipulative? Passive? I got all sorts of answers every time I ask this.
Assertive.
Assertive. How many of you say it's assertive? How many of you say it's it cannot be manipulative? Definitely and obviously. Actually, this is ambiguous. You know why? Because it depends on your relationship with your child. Some children, you just tell them once or twice, I'm tired and I need a rest, please go out. If you have been an assertive parent, they will go out. But you look at this one. Please, Lily, for the 10th time before I get really, really cross. What is this? Aggressive? Anybody else would like to try? This is passive. You know why? Because it's for the 10th time. Maybe for the 20th time. I don't know. You lost count maybe. And this is when the child, the parent might explode, you see, because you don't do anything. You were not assertive before that. And when you get so upset, you don't even remember what you said because you blow into a rage. That is the danger of being a passive parent. Now back to the one before that. I'm tired and I need a rest. Please go out. I did say that it could be assertive. The other possibility is it could be passive also. If you have been saying it again and again, you know that there is something not quite right with your parenting. Now my question is, I've been harping so much, talking so much about unmet needs, and the needs is attention, give attention, being assertive and all that. What about if the kids still misbehave despite you giving enough attention? I mean, you have given whatever they need, whatever unmet needs that they require. What is the need that is missing?
I think the parent has got to speak to the kid and ask him or her what else does she want or he wants.
How old is the child? It depends on how old the child is, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Anybody would like to guess? There is one word for this, and that is discipline. The word is discipline. And when you hear the word discipline, there are a lot of, we have heard so much about the word discipline until people think that, there's so many, so many quotations about discipline. Discipline, in a very big way, is actually putting limits. That's a very general connotation. But when we translate it into our action, that is where many parents, including myself, a long time ago, I wasn't so sure what I was doing. Okay? So, when it comes to discipline, the question is what, how, when, why, who, when do you introduce discipline, at what age, and so on. So this is what we are going to cover now. How many of you have babies, newborn till the age of 1.5 years? 1, 2, how many? Okay, I have great news for you. Babies don't need any discipline. So you just need to be responsive to them. Do whatever they want. They want to sleep, they want to change nappies, they are in pain, whatever. The key word for babies is responsiveness. Alright, especially if you have highly sensitive babies. They need more attention, more of your resources. And next is toddlers, 1.5 to 2 years. How many of you have that? Toddlers? Nobody? Only one lady. Okay, how many of you say that toddlers need discipline? How many of you say toddlers? I'm assuming the rest of you say toddlers do not need discipline. Yes or no?
Yes.
The answer is yes and no. Both are correct. You know why? Because discipline is a very gradual process. It's not like today the child becomes 1.5 years, you suddenly introduce discipline. No. This is a no man's land, meaning to say that you gradually introduce discipline. Okay? So it's a yes and no. And as far as possible, you make it easy for them. You make it easy for them. There's no clear line drawn at the age of 1.5 to 2 years. And preschoolers and older kids about the age of 2 to 5 years old, this is when we actually need to introduce clear and consistent discipline. But having said that, this is just a general outline because some kids, they mature faster and some kids, they develop a bit slower. So you need to adjust and know your kid, okay? Now, if we look at this, what is the objective of disciplining? The objective, the goal is by the age of 5, your child should be able to get along with other children, which means that if he or she goes to someone else's house, pergi main rumah, dia taklah pecah barang ke mencuri and things like that. So that's the goal that you have. And we are talking about 3 short years, not a very long time, 3 short years. All right? And as I've mentioned, it's clear and consistent rules. Now, a long time ago, people think that hitting was good for children because they felt that kids are bad, and to raise good kids, you have to treat them as bad children. But a lot of research shows that this is not a really good way of raising children, especially when you hit them often. Now, I'm not saying that there is no place for spanking. No, there are certainly places, yeah? There are certainly occasions when that is just the right thing to do. But when you use a lot of shame, a lot of hitting on children, it might very well backfire. Once upon a time, and not too long ago, I went to this talk on children who are sexually abused. All right? And we are talking about children at different ages. And one of the things that I still remember until today, about what the presenter said was, she said that sexually abused children the majority of them are abused by people whom they know. And the reason that they did not report it to their parents is because the parents like to use shame and guilt and hitting. And you see, one of the most important things that we parents do is that we are supposed to protect our children. You imagine if they do not feel safe to report it to us, who else are they going to report it to? Maybe their teachers, if they are lucky to have good teachers. So it has to be, parenting has to be done in such a way so that the kids are clear where the rules are drawn. Even if you need to punish them, they have to be very clear why they are punished. And even then, if you need to hit them, it has to be done as a last resort. Very, very much so. And it is completely possible to raise children without hitting. It is possible, all right? Now, what I mean by proactive and prevention is, you see, especially with young children, yeah? If you think about it, there are 2 times when there are pressure cooker times at home. When are these times? In the morning, isn't it? Before you go to school, before you go to work. And the other time is when you come back from work. So think about it. Have a bit of planning. How do you manage these pressure cooker periods? In the morning, how do you deal with them? Merengek lah, tak nak pergi sekolah and all that. And when you come back from home and your resources are low, you are hungry, you get cranky, they also are cranky. How do you do that? How do you manage these hours? Think about it. How do you handle it in a better way to avoid having to raise your voice? It's a potentially upsetting moment for both parents and children. And a bit about rewards and consequences. This especially works well with children 3, 4, 5, and even for older children. For instance, if you see a child of yours, the age of 3 or 4, conteng dinding, for instance, what do you do? Do you ask the maid to clean it? How many of you have maids at home? No? Do you ask the maid to clean it or you ask the child to clean it? You ask the child to clean it, don't ask the maid to clean it. No doubt the maid will clean it better than your child does.